Drunk Rob's Kitchen. Today we are going to make a recipe a lot of my friends like. This recipe is not necessarily going to be gout friendly, but I'll tell you along the way ways to make it more gout friendly. It's banana bread that's going to have a hidden surprise inside, which is a strawberry cream cheese cheesecake kind of middle filling. It'll boil into the rest of the bread and make veins of delicious strawberry cheesecake throughout the bread. So some of the ingredients, I'm going to do wet over here, dry over here. 2 1/4 to 2 1/3 cups of flour. Got a cup of mixed white and brown sugar, so it's about 2/3 cup white sugar, 1/3 cup brown sugar, which gives a more sweet taste. If you want to make this gout friendly, replace this with stevia. The flour, you want the least enriched flour you can find, very basic, which this is. We have some ground up walnuts and cocoa nibs. Basically, take walnut and cocoa nibs, put it in a grinder for coffee, grinds it up nice and small. This is about 1/4 cup of each. Then, of course, a bit of baking soda and salt, teaspoon of each is fine, to mix in with the dry stuff. So, dry stuff, the easy part, just pour it in, flour, mixed sugars, walnuts, cocoa nibs, and salt and baking soda. I'll go to the sink. Blend this up. Alright. Cocoa and the walnut give the bread a really nice, different taste and texture. I grind it up really fine. I don't want like chunks of walnut in my bread, so that's why I make it into the paste. So you get the flour. If you want the crunchiness, just crunch up walnuts instead of grinding it up like I did. If you just want the flavor, just coffee grind it. It makes it to kind of a wet paste, and then you just mix it in here with the dry ingredients. Alright, so for the wet ingredients, I'm using 3 bananas. Generally what I do, let bananas age, because I bought some, didn't use them, I'll put them in my freezer. There's a couple in there right now even. Then when you want them, just run them under hot water and then pop them into here. Also, about 1/3 cup of butter, vanilla extract, just a little bit, don't need a lot, and 2 eggs. There's 1, there's 2. Okay. Mix it up. You might need a spoon or something to mash it depending on how frosty you got your bananas. I got them pretty soft, so it's alright. And the butter's been sitting out for a while to soften as well, so just mash this up. Mix. Alright, so that's all the wet and dry ingredients. One more time, it's 1/3 cup of butter, 3 really ripe bananas, 2 eggs, vanilla extract. I'm gonna have 1 more wet ingredient here in a second once I get this stuff mixed up, because the last one mixes in pretty easy. It's going to be some Greek yogurt. You don't need a whole lot. I'd scoop out about 1/4 to 1/3 cup yogurt. It's gonna make the bread really moist when you make it. More cakey than bready perhaps, but nice moist bread. Mix it all up. Once it's mixed, I'm gonna go ahead, make a pocket in my dry ingredients. That's why you wear an apron. Alright, pour it in there. Make sure I get it all. This is the basic banana bread batter. If for some reason you think it's a little too dry, you can always add a smidge of milk or a little bit more yogurt. I don't think we're going to need to do that. Looks like it's mixing fine here. The reason it might be dry is bananas are not all the same size, so 3 bananas might end up being not quite enough moisture for everything. Same with eggs. Eggs are different sizes, especially in Korea. There seems to be a real discrepancy over size of eggs, so 2 eggs, maybe a lot smaller, a lot bigger than any other 2 eggs, even if you buy the same brand consistently. They also seem dry because of your butter not being melted enough. That's why I let mine sit out for quite a while before doing this. Just mix it up. Like I said, if you want this to be more gout friendly, just use the most basic flour you can. It's not enriched, not bleached. And then also, for the yogurt, I'm using Greek yogurt. You don't want sweetened yogurt with strawberries and blueberries and stuff like that added to it. And for sugar, you can easily replace the sugars I used with a cup of stevia or Swerve or something like that instead. When you look, this is what the batter is looking like. It's nice light brown. After I'm done with this, I'm gonna let it sit while I make the inside part, which is the really tasty, different part of this recipe. So I'm gonna put this over here while I do that. Walnuts and cocoa nibs, another delicious portion of this snack. Put those out of the way. All right, to make the kind of filling for this bread, I use strawberry Philadelphia. You can use any brand you want, or even mix strawberry in yourself if you want. And some basic white sugar. And so, I'm gonna scoop out, this is a 200 gram strawberry cream cheese. A spoon here, scoop it out. Alright, there we go. We want a 1-for-1 basically, so we're gonna try to fill this. I think I'm a little light on sugar here, but that's alright. Pour sugar in there. Scrape off the last of the sugar. And what you're going to do is you're just going to cream this together. A little light on sugars, I think. I'm going to add some confectionery sugar in here. I think it's about equal. Confectionery sugar is going to mix a little easier anyways. I'm just going to mash this together. And the sugar and cream cheese should kind of like sublimate into each other. It's going to become really creamy and soft. And you can already see it's nice and creamy and meaty. Just fold that in each times. Basically, you'll know it's ready when you don't see any more sugar or clumps of sugar around. It's going to be completely absorbed into the cream cheese. Alright, so strawberry cream cheese is ready to go. I'm using a rice cooker. So this rice cooker should be enough for this amount of bread. This rice cooker sometimes tends to burn things a little bit, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this liner in here, and it's basically going to end up making this bread into kind of a giant cupcake. So I just put that in there. Before I put it in though, I'm going to put a little oil in here. It helps keep things that do boil over from sticking to the bottom. And it's also going to help the liner stick a little better in there. So that shape the bread better. And this one's going to push it up the sides. We got a liner in there. And take the batter. And what I like to do is put about 2/3 of the batter in first. I'm going to put 2/3 of the banana bread in there. It's nice and thick, so it's getting a little resilient here. Alright, there we go. Cut that off. I got about 2/3 of the batter. Flatten it out. Wrapper. Then we're going to put all this cream cheese in there. Put it in the middle. and we want to kind of flatten it out as if we were like covering a cake or something. Just smooth it out in there to get a layer of it in the middle. Don't be afraid to use your fingers when you're cooking. It's gonna get heated up anyways. You're not gonna get people sick or anything from using your fingers to scoop things out while baking. You can always wash your hands, so fine. Just like with any good art, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. Out in there, about even. When it gets really hot, what's going to happen is this is going to turn kind of liquidy, and it's going to cook up and down into the 2 layers of banana bread. And if you've done it right and got the heat point right, you're going to get like marbled strawberry cream cheese throughout the bread. So flatten in there on top of it. Bounce it down a couple times, make sure the wrapper is completely spread out. We're going to take what's left of our batter on top. A rice cooker is not as fast as an oven, so when I put this into the rice cooker, it's going to take about an hour 15 to an hour and a half to cook. It's fine, but also in the rice cooker it tends to come out really moist. All the water really gets trapped in there. The rice cooker will, steam off some water, but it's going to trap in a lot more moisture than an oven does. It's going to end up giving you really moist bread, which is the way I prefer it. I can't eat all of this by myself, of course, so I'm going to end up taking this to work to share with my coworkers tomorrow. Baking is not a very common skill here in Korea, so they are always pretty delighted when I bring something in. Especially men also just don't really tend to cook in this country at all. Neither do women nowadays either. A lot of people just eat out on the town a lot. They don't do a lot of home cooking, and the stuff they do cook at home tends to be really basic a lot. So homemade treats are really appreciated, especially in the workplace. Builds some good jung, which is like Korean social cohesion. So here we go. You can see the top. We got about this much in there. It's gonna probably raise to about the top of the cooker, which is good. It's just perfectly fits in the wrapper, so it's gonna end up looking like a giant cupcake, hopefully. So I'll be back after this finished cooking, about 90 minutes or so, to flip it out and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm just gonna pop in the rice cooker. I'm gonna plug it in and let it do its thing. Alright, so be right back on Drunk Rob's Kitchen. Alright, so here we are. It's done, I think. We'll see when I flip it out if I have catastrophe or success. Alright, so it's a little tricky. I don't want it to cool down too much, so it's only been sitting for a minute. I'm gonna try to flip it out onto this pan and then flip it back over really quick. Let's check it out. Oh boy, so we're gonna look at this, it looks like. Wow. Ooh, and the cream cheese slid right apart. Ouch, 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 ouch. We're gonna try to rest this back on top. Should have let it sit more, I guess. I'm gonna let it cool, but you can see the inside there. It will re-solidify in a little bit. That molten strawberry cream cheese. You can see the bread really moist and soft. And there you have it. So it works. I probably should have let it cool down before I flipped it out, because now it's kind of sliding apart, but that won't hurt the flavor, so it's alright. So I'm gonna see you next time on Drunk Rob's Kitchen. I hope this helped you out. Enjoy. Have a good one.